About 2 o'clock in the morning on the coldest night of the year last winter, it was about 0 degrees out, we were woke up to a terrible roaring sound and orange glow in the sky outside. At first I thought it was a ferry run aground down in the Narrows below us, but we quickly realized that it was our bathhouse on fire. Made a heck of a noise out there with 5 propane tanks that blew up, and they were just roaring like a jet engine. Got so hot in there that even the food inside of the freezer was burning up. There was flames coming out from the inside of the freezer. Had a hot tub out there, shower, sauna, a freezer, a dryer, and a few other things stored in there, and they all got burned up on us. I was going to go grab a garden hose and hook up to try to spray the building next to it down, which started glowing a little bit and started getting pretty hot over there. But I realized that all of the garden hoses that we drained before winter and rolled up and stored away were stored in the bathhouse. There's nothing I could do about that then. We called the fire department, and they came out on icy roads and got up here and kind of put the fire down. It had already gone down mostly, but they did help get it down and then made sure it didn't spread to any of the other buildings. So really appreciated the boys coming out here at 2 o'clock in the morning on a 0 degree night in the ice and the snow. And they did a good job keeping the fire from spreading anyplace else. So that was our bathhouse for the last 20 years. So we needed a new place to take a shower and a bath. I ordered a on-demand hot water heater and set it up outside of our basement for the summertime and while it was warm out, and then I ordered a new shower stall to put up in the basement. I'd put a drain in the basement for a shower in there when we poured the floor in there, so it was all ready for a shower. We just needed a shower stall. Well, the shower stall that I ordered got lost in the mail, and it didn't show up, and it didn't show up. We finally bought a shower stall from a friend of ours in town who'd bought one and then decided to go a different route. So this video was of me putting the shower stall in. Now I lost a lot of video. One of my SD cards froze up on me, and a lot of the video got lost on the initial part of building the shower. So we'll start out here where I've got the framework all built for it and put into the basement, set up over the shower drain. Now you can see it turned out to be a beautiful day the next day after the fire, so even though we were ruined, everything else was fine. Well, it's a beautiful day outside today. Bright blue sky, calm wind. It warmed up to almost 30 degrees out there today. Now we've had several days in a row of really nice weather, and the forecast says we're going to have another week of this weather. For the last few years, when it was like this, I'd make sure I was outside working with the equipment on the property someplace. That's the reason I've got this place fixed up the way it has been, is because I've been doing that instead of working on the house. We don't have very many opportunities where we can actually work outside, as it's so muddy and wet here, and the ground is froze up now and it's dry out, so it's an ideal time to be working outside. But I've got things to do inside here right now. I've been neglecting this stuff for a long time. That's why the house is not finished. But I've got the property all fixed up now from a steep old side hill into something that's usable, so that's pretty nice. But we got to get to work on the house. But I've also got to get this shower done so I can get this mess cleaned up here in the basement, and then get my plane home so I can get the wing off of it and put in here to redo that wing. And I've got the valve mounted there, and the drop ear elbow mounted in here, and the PEX tube going from the valve up to that'll be the shower head. I've got fittings sitting on the valve down there for PEX lines, and I went upstairs and drug out my blue and my red PEX. Judy was insistent that I use blue for cold and red for hot. I need to come up through this wall up here to the ceiling and then go across over to the wet wall and hook into the plumbing over there. I was thinking about mounting the hot water heaters right here on the framework and then just running cold over here, but I think I might want hot water over there too for a sink to put in. So anyway, I've got a spade bit in here. I just spent about 5 minutes or so sharpening that up. Those things don't come sharp when you buy anything new. They come with a machine sharpened edge on it, whether it's a knife or a chisel or a drill bit or whatever. This has been used, so it got dull, but a couple minutes with a lapstone on it and sharpened it right up. All right, there's that one. Okay. All right, now I can run my pipes up through there or down through there, as the case may be. I don't have to worry about putting shielding on those for nails or anything, because there's not going to be any sheeting or drywall or anything like that put in there. So I probably need to get a vacuum cleaner and clean up that mess, but you got to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs, as the saying goes. So I had a hole drilled in this and it cut off at an angle. I was obviously using it to pull through something. Well, I had a string on there. I take the string off. Let's see if I can find my, there it goes. All right, 1 inch. That was plenty big enough to clear for a clearance hole for that pipe. I thought it would be, but I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't measure the pipe to see. Now, when I designed, or in my head, designed the plumbing for this house, I intended to use 3/4 inch PEX to run my main lines from my supply down here up to all the floors, and then split off with 1/2 inch pipe to run to the utilities, like the toilet, lavatory sink, shower, things like that. Okay, I got extra there. Now I need to run that. Now I can make nice clean cuts on the ends of both of these. Put the expansion or the contraction, compression rings on them and squeeze them tight. So there's Haji and Mom. There's my boy. Oh yeah, there's my boy. There's my boy. Yeah. These ears on these things make it hard to get the crimping tool here on the compression sleeve. As good as it's going to get. We'll see if it leaks or not. Now this one's the same way, because there's an ear sticking up here. The screw goes in for that cover. I can't get the tool in there on that. If they'd have come straight out, I could have got on it pretty easy. Okay, now let's see. Now let's see what happens here. And those are on there tight. Okay. Instead of fighting that pipe right there, the kink in it, I'm going to heat it up. I should soften it up enough that I can work it. All right, that one goes on there. Get this one on there. Now I need to clean up my mess here. Still got to fix that end over there, but I'm going to do that after I get the shower all finished. No point hooking the water up till the shower's finished. Oh, I got to read the instructions to be sure, but I think the next thing to do is to go ahead and glue those panels up. And they get glued down here to this base with some silicone, and then to these studs with panel adhesive. So I'm going to go over this base here and the panels with some cleanser, clean it, make sure all the grease and oil's off of everything before I set that up there. Then these and then there's a 1x2 that goes into these pockets that are on the back side here on both sides. I've got to go dig those out yet. I still haven't got those cut. So I'm going to wipe down the back side here with some cleaner. Make sure that the panel adhesive sticks to it. Same with the back where it gets glued down. All right, I got to go venture out into the cold. Sometimes the appropriate hand tool is quicker than, or as quick as a power tool. And if you've got it handy and the power tool is off someplace else, it can be a heck of a lot quicker. So I dug out a couple of 1x4s and ripped them down into 1x2s. Now you'd think you could just get one 1x4 and rip it down into two 1x2s, but that doesn't work because generally a 1x4 is not a full 4 inches wide, and then you lose the kerf from running it through the blade. But in this case, I got this 1x4 was a little over 4 inches wide. I cut it in two, and I wound up getting two 1x2s out of it. So that's what I'm going to do next is I'll go ahead and glue these up to those wall panels, and I've got some clamps. I've got the panel glue over here hanging by the heater. So I'll just go ahead and squirt some glue on these and stick them in there and get them glued up. So right here is that where that 1x2 goes. You can see this is molded out a little bit, and there's a little round over on this side, like a little molding out there that sticks out, and that's where that 1x2 goes, is in this. That helps stiffen this thing up for putting the door on there, I guess. All right. Did you find the cookies, Haji? You did? You found the cookies, huh? Okay, I got those two 1x2s gluing in there. Instructions didn't say anything about waiting until the glue dried on those, but it only makes sense that you do. So I'm going to go ahead and leave those sitting there like that for a while now until the glue dries. And the next step is to go ahead and put that panel adhesive on the 2x4s where this thing mounts up to, and put some of that silicone down there on the base around the bottom where the flange on the bottom of this meets. So I got to take this plastic doohickey off of here. Well, not making much progress here on the shower stall build. Seems like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I cut those 1x2s and glued those up in, like the instructions said, onto the stall panels there. But that didn't work out too well. That glue didn't stick to the wood, or didn't stick. It's maybe not warm enough in here or something. I took the clamps off and the 1x2s just fell right off. Glue wasn't set up on them. I put them back on and let them set for another 24 hours or so, and they still hadn't set up, so I've taken them off. And then I went to do a dry assembly on it there, and the 1x2s stuck out proud of the back of those panels and kind of interfered with the framing around there and wouldn't let it close up tight on it. So those are full dimension 1x2s, so it's a little bit thick. I'm going to go ahead and dig a planer out and plane those down, make them so they'll fit in that groove a little bit better, and maybe the glue will stick to them better if they're sticking to a smooth surface. The instructions didn't say anything about putting blocking in the studs up there at the top of where the panels go. They just had it putting blocking in down at the bottom where the base went. Well, when I got to reading in the instructions, it said to put sheetrock screws into the wood every 12 inches at the top of those panels. Well, there's nothing to put it in, so I went and cut some blocking and put in up there on the top of that. And I got something to put the sheetrock screws into. So I've been also working on my pickup down in the hangar a little bit. I dropped the oil out of it. I've got it up on ramps so that I can get underneath it easier. And while it was up on ramps, I wanted to go ahead and grease the universal joints in the front drive shaft. I replaced the drive shaft last year, and the new drive shaft has grease zerks in the universal joints. But they're also close to the edges of the universal joints that I can't get the coupler onto the grease zerks. So I've got to figure something out about that. And it was doggone cold there, laying on the ground on the floor in the hangar, that it was hard to work on it. So I've got a little heater pointed underneath the truck right now to warm it up underneath there, and I had to figure out what I'm going to do to get those universal joints greased. I'll probably have to take the drive shaft off, grease them, and then put them back in. That looks like the easiest thing to do. Then I don't have to do the rest of the work laying on my back underneath there in the cold, in the dark. All right, I got to go move some stuff around so I can dig that planer out and plane those boards down and start trying to make some progress on getting this shower done. It's still nice outside, still beautiful outside. It's cold, frost crystals everywhere. It's warmed up to about 29 degrees out there now.
Some nice shavings.
All right, I got those planed down now. They look a lot prettier than they did, and they fit up in that groove like they're supposed to. And Judy is down here gathering up the shavings, just like her chickens, pecking away at the ground and the grain. She likes those shavings for putting in her chicken yard. So, anyway, that's good use for them. All right, I'm going to go in and get the heater back on. He had to kick the heater off to run the planer out here, so go turn the heater back on, get the door closed, and then we'll get those two pieces glued back up like they were supposed to be. I got those 1x2s glued back up on there, and I don't know whether it's a fresh deal of panel adhesive or the nice, shiny, clean face that I put it on this time, but it already feels a lot better. I put that stuff up there and it felt like it was already sticky. It didn't want to pop off like it did before. You would think that a rough surface like we had on there would be better for glue contact, more surface area actually for glue contact, but I don't know. Anyway, it seems like it's sticking better. We don't have the best luck with glue around here. So other tube could have gotten frozen or overheated or old or something like that. But anyway, that looks like that's going to work. And I got a little space heater and plugged in over on the back side of it, pointing towards that, so it should warm that up some more. All right, I got those 1x2s in there and glued in yesterday, and that stuck a whole lot better. I don't know whether it was because the boards were planed down or because I had different glue on there, but those things stuck in there pretty good. I got out another little electric heater and stuck right here behind them. It warmed it up a little bit. It's only, well, it was about 16 degrees last night, and it's warmed up a little bit now, but it's only about 58 degrees in here. That on the floor, that heater says 53 down there. After I got these boards planed down and glued on there, then I went down and worked in the hangar on the pickup, and I pulled the drive shaft, the front drive shaft out of that. I was going to change the Zerks in it to 45s or something that I could get the coupler onto, but once I got it apart and got to looking, I didn't have the right Zerks for that, so I just greased it up real good, put it back in. But I had a heck of a time with that because of course the bolts were in there really tight, but they used Torx head screws in the drive shaft there where it attaches to the front differential, and getting what is it, a number 40 Torx head screw. And of course I didn't have anything like that. Well, I did have some like that, but anyway, it was a pain. I went to town to try to see if I could find one. Of course, they didn't have anything like that. So anyway, I was able to get it to work. But so now I've put panel adhesive on these studs here. I'll see if I can't get that to glue down. I don't know that my clamps here are deep enough. So I put silicone down around the base and panel adhesive here on the 2x4s. Now it says to get some drywall screws and put drywall screws around in the top up there.
There's a whole bunch over there.
Yeah, I know there is. I used them before. Just got to get a drill bit and drill the pilot holes. I gotta get the instructions so I can get everything. I think measures 38 and some inches out from the back to the rail here. But I better go get the instructions to figure it out. So back down to get the instructions and figure out what to do next. That thing is all glued up. I let it sit for a while. Went down and worked on the truck a little bit. Put Judy's car in the hangar so we could change the tires to the winter tires on there, the snow tires on there. I'm back up in here working on this shower again. Starting to install the glass on it to get the door put in. And I got the rails put in on the side. They screw into the 1x2 that we put in there and partially into the 2x4s that are in the framing. But trying to get the angles fitted on there, figuring out how to do that. There's some seals and stuff that go on there that don't exactly show as well as they could in the instructions. So I'm going to go down and see what I can figure out. I'm going to go down, look online, do a search on this shower and stuff, see if I can get some pictures of it to get a little better idea where some of these things go on here. Not sealed in or screwed down or anything yet, but I got to get it figured out. I was having a little bit of trouble figuring this thing out, how this went together. And one of the problems I was having was it came with this strip, this seal strip here, and these were in these channels that screw onto the wall here. Oh, I kind of was wondering whether they went in there or not to seal those panels. When these panels slide into that channel that was on there, there's nothing in the instructions that showed that, or I didn't see anything in the instructions that showed that. And then it says to put this little bulb angle seal in there. So I got that in this side, and you're supposed to cut it off a little bit short. So we've got these pivot blocks up here that the door pivots on. So it's supposed to be cut short below those. And I got to looking, I only had one of these. Well, I couldn't figure it out. So I went down and got on the computer and started doing a little research to see if I could figure out what the heck was going on, where these seals went to, maybe get a picture of this and some installation instructions and stuff like that. There really wasn't anything on this particular door. This is a Kohler, and the doors are actually pretty nice. The shower stall itself is crap, but the doors are pretty nice. Anyway, it's a Kohler Sterling set, a Neo Angle it's called. And I've found a bunch of Kohler Sterling Neo Angle stuff in there, but none of it actually related to this door. So I came back up here and started trying to figure it out, and reading through the instructions, looking at this again. I guess this bulb seal here only goes on the striker door, the panel that the door goes against, and it doesn't go on the one that it hinges on. And then I'm worried about these panels, these seals here, where they went. And as I got farther along in the instructions, I can see, let me get that out of there, that this seal goes into this frame right here, so the door can seal against it. You don't need a bulb seal on the side that the hinge is on. You just put one here on this striker side, and then both sides get this door seal right here. It took a little bit of figuring on the instructions here to figure all that out, but I'm starting to get it. So anyway, I got this assembled. Before putting these panels up here, there's little plastic blocks that go in here. Anyway, they go in up top and bottom, and they just have a screw, sheet metal screw, not a sheet metal screw, a machine screw that goes in through this block and into this. And there's an extruded channel down through here that a nut goes down into. Well, the holes are pre-punched into this, which is good, and that channel captures that nut in there so that it doesn't turn. You don't need a wrench on it or anything, but drilled the holes in here. They left the burrs on the back side of it, so you couldn't get the nut down in there to line up with the screw. Anyway, I had to take my pocket knife with a long blade on it, reach down in there, and get those burrs out of the way. And then I used that to hold the nut in place, because my fingers are too big to fit down in that channel. Well, that's all together now. So now we'll go to the next step. And it doesn't say that in the instructions, but I went ahead and did it anyway. I loosened these channels up, pulled them out a little ways, and then took the caulk gun and run a bead of silicone down inside of them just to seal between this panel and here and that channel. So let's see where we're at here now. I got 14, 6, now I'm past that stage, 17, now we got 18. Form procedures blow from the inside. Prevent marring the surface of the shower base. Slide the 6 panels into the wall jamb, then slide it downward until it rests on the shower base. Well, the channel, the extrusion that this glass is fitted into is really tight fit into this channel. And they want you to hold it up here and slide it in, and then slide it down so that it doesn't booger up the base down here. It's easier to tip this at an angle this way and just slide the bottom corner into this channel and then tip it up and slide it down than it is to try to slide it in sideways like this. Insert 3 8/18 by ½ screws through the slots in the wall jamb and fasten to the corresponding holes in the fixed panel. Well, there are no corresponding holes in the fixed panel, and you gotta be careful. Okay, there's where the glass goes, so this thing goes back there a ways before the glass. I don't want to go into the glass, and that would break it, trying to put a screw in there. So I guess the thing to do is to go ahead and, here's a little blister pack with the screws on it, and it's got the, 8/18 by ½ screws right there. I guess the thing to do on that would be go ahead and set my drill up and drill a pilot hole in those, and then put these screws in there. Now these holes here in this side panel, or in the channel that mounts up here, are slotted. So there's adjustment there on those. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, I'll go ahead and take some of these screws out of this blister pack. 3 for each side. And I've got a hand driver. They don't want you to put these in there tight yet. Just put them in there and get them started in the holes. All right, now back to the instructions again. Here we go. Okay, 19, install the bridge members. Okay, those go onto the connectors. These are the bridge members. And I guess they're identical. This lip here is supposed to go up, and these slide onto. Okay, let's see here. Just put my little hammer away. Okay, now how do we get that one on there? Okay, that one slipped right on. Okay, now let's get the top one on too. There it went. Okay, now it's going to go on this one. There we go. All right, now those get screwed in with sheet metal screws, so I got to find the one that I dropped in here. There it is right there. Alrighty. Alrighty. Go ahead and drive these in with a driver because they go in tight. There we go. All right. Now that is done. Let's see what's next on the list here. All right. Check to see if this is plumb, and that is good there. That's plumb there, and that is good there. That one is pretty good. That one's got to come out a little bit on the top. Pretty good, I think. 20, install the jam seals, plugs, and bottom pivot pin. Okay, jam seal now goes in here. I got it in this side already. Yeah, okay, so now we'll put it in this side. All right, that's in there. Now the pivot pin goes in, jam seal, both jam seal, place jam seal is shown. Plug into the left side of the hole, top and bottom. So we got plugs to go in. Where the hell are they at? Plugs right there. They go in the holes for the pivot point in case there's pivot points on both sides of the door in case you want the door to open either direction. So we're going to have the door open to the right, I guess that this is. Anyway, there's a hole in here for it, the pivot pin, and we want to plug that up. So there's a plug here for it. So now there's nylon washers that go on the top and bottom pivot pin. Okay, it goes right there like that. So here's the door. And it says, the side that says clean coat on it, which is this side here, is supposed to go in. So that means I need to have the hinges on this side and the door latch on this side. I guess that's the way it goes anyway. Let's see what the instructions say here. Position the shaft in the hole at the top of the door panel on the non-coated side. There's a nut welded onto here. I guess that's the shaft. And then there's a bushing that goes on that to go in between the glass, the hole in the glass. And then you wind up with a little screw. That's a Phillips head. And then the hinge plate assembly. So the hinge plate assembly also has a gasket on it. So the L bracket there goes on the outside, and that's got the shaft, which I guess is the piece that's threaded. And then this part goes on the inside of the glass. It's got a countersunk flathead screw on it that goes on there. Oh, where'd the bushing go? Oh, let's see. Bushing goes in there. What do they do with that bushing? Okay, this hinge plate that goes on the inside, that one wouldn't fit one direction and would fit the other. You think it'd be symmetrical, but it's not. Now the other one goes on the bottom side, and I lost the bushing sleeve here for that one. So got a hunt now for that. Well, here it is. The enclosure's all together, and it fits pretty good. Had a little bit of trouble with the door. The hinges here, the instructions on them, again, they were okay, but they lacked a little bit. The pin comes down through here and up from the bottom that it pivots on, and there are set screw holes in the one side of this block here, the hinge block that goes in there, and there's only set screw on one side, so the hinge pins goes down here. There's actually 3 hinge pin holes in here, but on this one it goes in right here. So that set screw has got to go in there to lock the door onto the hinge pin. Like I said, it's only on one side, so if you get these 2 blocks turned around, then it goes in on the wrong side. The set screw winds up being on here, so it'll still go on there and it'll still hinge, but you can't lock it to set it. So anyway, we got that figured out. It's all on here. It seals up good. It's nice and square. That's going to be good. Let's see. They've got enough room for even the old fat guy to fit in here to take a shower. Still got to run silicone sealant around all of the seams and stuff in here. Got it pretty good around the base there, and actually I waited too long on that to clean that up because it's going to all splooged out there. It's going to look like hell. I can't clean it up now. I did loosen up these braces, these channels that go on here, and put silicone behind those. So that's good. Now I need to seal down around the base there on these 2 panels, these 2 glass panels. Check and make sure I've got good sealant around the base where the wall panels fit in there. Of course, they say to seal up here where you got the panel coming down over that, but we don't have any kind of trim panel or anything up here right now. I don't know whether I've bothered putting one in or not because it's just decorative and we want to get this thing working. Anyway, there's a little bit of work left to do on it, and I got to put the screen in for the drain and put the hardware in, the valve and stuff in here, and that's all ready to go. Put the shower head in. This part of it is just about done then. Peel some plastic off of here. All right, that's enough for now. I'm to quit for the day. Yeah, we're past time. Judy's making sauerkraut sausages for dinner. Otherwise, we'll go up and have some. Well, it actually turned out pretty good, I think. Square, doesn't look like it's in a cattywampus any place there. The door is nice and even all the way around it. The channels that we put on the side come up kind of at an angle with the side panels, but that just means this outside edge is out higher than the inside edge, which is fine. That means all the water will drain down towards the drain on that better. Can't hardly wait to take a shower on that. Now I got to get all the plumbing put in.